The aim of the session is to develop a better understanding of what behaviour is, and to develop a better understanding of challenging behaviour, and to hopefully take away some learning which can be used in your day-to-day interaction. So it's something useful that you can take away. So what's behaviour? So I guess it's pretty basic stuff. So scientifically, it's an organism's activities in response to external or internal stimuli, including objectively observable activities. So in layperson, so stuff that I like, it's behaviour is the way a person acts or reacts, basically. And it applies to all of us. So what's challenging behaviour? So behaviour can be described as challenging when it is of such an intensity, frequency or duration as to threaten the quality of life or the physical safety of the individuals or others, and is likely to lead to responses that are restrictive, aversive, or result in exclusion. So I guess this is just a list of what challenging behaviour looks like. Obviously, it can look like different things for different people. So the thing that I want, hopefully, people to take away from this session is that what's challenging for me may not be challenging for you, and actually could be vice versa. And there's nothing wrong with people saying, actually, I find that behaviour really challenging. The person may not find it challenging. The individual doing it may not have a problem with it, but actually, it's nothing wrong with you saying, actually, I find that behaviour really challenging. So sometimes challenging behaviour is confused with mental health problems. It's not the same. And sometimes people with learning disabilities may display challenging behaviour because they have a mental health problem. It's really important, therefore, to find the cause of the behaviour. I guess it's why does it happen? So are you guys, where are you? I'll just put you back up again. Can anybody, we'll have a bit of a discussion point here. I know, Lorna, that you have a fair bit of experience in this. Have you had any? Can you hear me? Have you had any thoughts around challenging behaviour? Which I'm sure you have.
Yeah. So why does it happen?
Yeah.
Well, for me, and I know you'll know this phrase, all behaviour is a form of communication. So it's generally because there's an unmet need of some description. So that could be hunger, that could be thirst, that could be that they're interested in something that they want to do. A wide range of those. You know, we've all got lots and lots of different needs, and it's really, for me, it's really, really important that we work out what's underneath that behaviour. We don't just respond to a challenging behaviour as, you know, and it's a bit like, you know, if they're jiggling up and down, they could be jiggling up and down because they're bored, and you might take them off and do an activity with them, or they could be jiggling up and down because they need the toilet. Now, if they were jiggling up and down and you took them off to do an activity thinking they were bored, but actually they needed the toilet, that wouldn't help. So it's about really finding out what's underneath that behaviour and what need that behaviour's expressing to you.
Yeah, there's a flip side to that as well, though, isn't it? It's how you respond to it as well. So often your reactions, you're not aware of it because you just react, don't you? And it's about being aware that actually, am I reacting to this before I've actually thought about what the underlying cause is?
And I think it's, you know, particularly for parents, it's about trying to find that time to be able to be reflective about what's happened.
Yeah.
And be able to go back and think, hang on a minute, what really was, you know, we've all, you know, we're in the stress of the moment when, you know, little Johnny runs off and you're chasing after them to stop them running in the road. Yeah. That's the right thing to do and we're all there. But it's finding time in that really busy schedule to actually sit back and have a reflective look at why that behaviour happened and what you can do to prevent it happening in the future. So being that one step ahead.
Yeah. So in the context of disability, I guess what this slide is trying to get at is that often with your average typical child, the 2-year-old, we call it the tantrums, the terrible twos and things. For children with disabilities, that often just carries on sometimes because they haven't developed all of those skills that your average neurotypical child does. So they have the same needs as well. So they're still children. They'll still go through those difficult moments of learning, but actually they have that additional issue that their development hasn't quite caught on yet. But you're absolutely right, Lorna. There's lots of reasons why this happens, and we'll have a look at most of them in a bit.
Yeah, they can still be naughty.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So they can, absolutely.
The challenge is working out what is the being naughty and the just being a normal child, and what is a behaviour that is.
And that's the thing about the different style of parenting, because we did the parenting workshop, parent carer workshop, is that you're not just the normal typical parent. As a parent carer, you're almost like this detective to work out, well, would my average or normal 3-year-old do the same, or is this above and beyond what a normal 3-year-old would do? And what's the underlying cause? Is it because that they can't talk, they're unable to communicate, and actually what they really want to tell me is that they want that toy there, and I haven't quite understood it. And things like, have they got a headache? If a 7-year-old has got a headache and they can't tell you, is that behaviour that, or is it that this 7-year-old is simply having a bit of a tantrum because they can't do what they want to do? So it's the kind of parenting role kind of changes, and it's trying to understand and trying to change this whole reactive thing. So you react and get into a habit of reacting. It's rather sort of standing back and thinking, where is this behaviour coming from? What are they trying to tell me? And you're absolutely right, it is a way of communicating. What is this child actually trying to tell me here? What's going on for them? But but I think there is this perception that challenging behaviour is a problem to be treated, and that the problem's the child, not everything else, not the people around them, not the environment. The problem's the child or the individual. And then I guess it's changing that narrative and trying to understand it as behaviour is a way of communicating, and we all do it. So we all have behaviours. If we're low in mood, we'll behave quite horrible towards people. We might be a bit grumpy, but that is a way of communicating, and it's not a problem that needs to be treated. I guess it's about defining it as a behaviour that you want to address or reduce, rather than it's the child that's the problem. It's the behaviour that's causing the issues. So a person with learning disabilities whose behaviour is described as challenging may also have or develop a mental health problem. And that's another thing, isn't it? I think a lot of people get this sort of idea confused around challenging behaviour automatically being a mental health problem. That's not always the case, but actually it may be, and it does need to be explored. And that, again, it applies to your average typically developed child as well. If they're feeling low in mood, they're still susceptible to mental health issues. And this will make challenging behaviour more difficult. You might find that actually sometimes your child that wasn't having these problems suddenly starts having a problem, and you're trying to work out what it is. May include, hang on, there's somebody in the chat. Oh, right, okay, somebody else will join us shortly. That's right, we'll get another ping. Okay. So you've already mentioned this, Lorna, but some of the common reasons for challenging behaviours is to gain attention, to get something, to escape something or someone, sensory needs, bright lights, loud noises. Now, this is quite typical in school environments. Often parents talk about when their child started going to school and suddenly they started seeing all these behaviours. This very much sort of links in with that. But there are many, many other reasons. So there's not one defined cause for challenging behaviour. It could be all sorts of reasons. And this is why developing a good understanding of the young person or child is really, really important. And it can also be related to physical pain, emotional distress, mental ill health, and trauma such as abuse. So I created this diagram to have a look at some other factors. So things like environmental. Right. Hello. Just joined us now. Right, okay. Hi. So Lorna, I'm going to use you again. So I've mentioned I've made a sort of list of things that I think have an impact on behaviour. So things like physical, biological, and environmental. I guess I've missed one out. I've missed one out. Tanya or anybody, can somebody mention the one that I've missed out?
please.
I've got environmental, so that could be lighting, noise, clutter.
Yeah.
I've got physical, which is you've got your headache, earache, toothache, fluid intake, nutrition, poor sleep, pain, hunger. I've got biological, which has genes, personality, mental illness, learning needs, difficulties in processing information. I've missed one out, but I have got a clue on there for you to have a look at.
I'm not too sure. Go on, Nazreen.
So it's social. It's just social. I was just being a bit of a pain. It's just social. It's things like relationships. It's over here. It's things like relationships, lack of boundaries, reinforcements.
Oh yeah.
So all of these have an impact. In fact, it has an impact on all of us, not just people with learning disabilities and autism. With people with learning disabilities and physical disabilities and autism, these factors are slightly different. But actually, this applies to all of us. So now I've made a list of behaviours, which I would say the challenging behaviours, but we need to look at for whom. And is that important? I guess is the question I want to ask. Is it important? What about making loud noises? Is that important for other people?
Sorry, I'm a little baby screaming.
Right.
I think it depends on the environment, who you.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of a case study. I mean, making loud noises. There was a young person that was making an awful lot of loud noises, and the neighbour complained a lot, called the police, made complaints to the local authority. How would that be defined as a challenging behaviour?
It's because it challenges the other person. It's not actually
It's
a challenge
impacting
for
on their life.
Yeah, it's not a challenge for the child.
No.
It's a challenge for how they impact on other people.
Yeah. And what would the solution be?
Buy her some earplugs.
for the neighbour. Well, yeah. Because actually those noises could be happy noises. There could be really happy noises. That could be the young person's only way of communicating. But what you often find is that one there is labelled as challenging behaviour. And the question is, who is it challenging for? And how do you then go about addressing it? Once you've identified that, then it makes it easier to find a solution to it. You know, they could get soundproofing done on the wall. You know, they could get soundproofing done on the wall, and that's that addressed. But what we're trying to get at here is that challenging behaviour is often used as a very quick label to label people and to say, oh, that's challenging behaviour. But actually, when you pick it apart, it's not really challenging behaviour. It's just an environmental issue that needs to be addressed. Who is it challenging for?
I think the mother that has to keep cleaning up after the children, bless her. But yeah, whoever's caring for their, child, it's challenging for them because they have to keep cleaning, and yeah.
And how would you address it? What do you think would be the solution for it?
Oh, that's a bit of a tricky one, really.
What do you think could be the underlying cause?
Is it sensory needs?
Well, Lorna's just put her hand up. I'm just going to go to Lorna. Sorry, Tanya. Wait a bit. Hi, Lorna.
Tanya, you were dead right. That's exactly what I was going to say. I would suspect that it's a sensory need. So I'd be looking at sensory play that would give a similar sort of feel to the smearing. But again, there's a bit of me that thinks that not only does smearing, it does impact on the young person or the child, because there's the health implications as well of, excrement being all around the house and not being able to clear up as well.
But does it matter, Lorna? Does it matter whether it's the young person that's been affected or other people that have been affected?
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you wanted, I think there's more for me. There's more of a need to try and help the young person address that issue because of the health and safety around it, rather than the making a loud noise. If the making a loud noise is them showing that they're happy, then we just find other ways of sorting it out. But with smearing, there is this health and safety aspect as well. And it could be sensory, but it could also be that they've got you know, a medical issue. They might be constipated, they might, you know, worms, those sorts of things. So it's always worth having that sort of investigation going on as well.
So the reason why I said does it matter, I think we get very hung up on this idea of that, you know, if other people are finding it challenging, that somehow that's less than the individual finding it challenging. It's just as valid. So if it's affecting somebody else's quality of life, then it's just as valid to define that behaviour as challenging. And you're absolutely right with smearing, and even with, I mean, even with loud noises, if they're sad noises and they're really sort of getting upset, then actually that needs to be addressed. And that needs to be, you need to look at probably more internal factors, as in what's going on for that young person. Is it because they're finding the noise distressing or whatever, or other factors that they're finding distressing? But actually, if they're happy noises, then yeah, that's the environment and they need to focus on that. But definitely with the smearing, the young person might enjoy it. Might be a really sensory experience, they really like it, but actually it's a really challenging behaviour for other people to deal with on a day-to-day basis. There we go. I think the rest of it, we've got the hang of it. I think it's mainly around finding out who is it challenging for, and then getting to the root cause, because that helps you to identify a bit of a pathway, as in looking at that behaviour. Who is it challenging for? Is it other people or is it the individual? If it's the other people, then you're thinking, well, it's environmental. If it's the individual, then you're thinking, right, okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty bits of this. Is it physical? Is it environmental? Is it biological? What can we do about it? So we'll go down here. Oh no, sugar. Now I've done this now, haven't I? Lorna, I've done this now. I've done it again, haven't I, Tanya? I've got to start again. Right, where were we? So it's this bit here. So it's about finding a pathway to understand what's going on for that young person. Now, I appreciate often parents, because we had that parent carer workshop, didn't we, Tanya and Donna, where we talked about all the extra stresses and how the role is completely different to normal parenting. What kind of things do you think will hinder you guys with implementing this process with your children?
I think by having so many children, it's okay when you've got, like, you know, in the box child, one child, maybe two children, but put that same process onto 12 children, which a lot have got extra needs, and it becomes a lot harder.
Yeah, but you can apply it with all of your children. Would that be helpful if you applied this to all of your children? So it's almost like thinking, it's changing your perspective of what challenging behaviour is. So it's using that pathway again, defining the behaviour. So, okay, I don't know, how many children have we got?
12.
12. How old are they, Donna?
From say 12, one's 18, right down to 7 months.
Okay, which one are you most concerned about?
Probably the 7 and 9-year-olds at the moment.
Okay, and what is it that worries you? What kind of behaviours are you worried about?
Like you say, more like the violent behaviour, the violent outbursts, and also the unsafe behaviour, whereas like running into the road and things, from like my 9-year-old, who we suspect has some sort of autism.
Yeah.
But not been diagnosed, not into CAMS or anything. We haven't gone down that pathway yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suspect though the violent outbursts, I think maybe because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is, I guess, because you have got so many of them, it is about trying to find a simpler way for you that would work, that you can implement straight away. So it's things like, can I define this behavior? So impulsive behavior, you would say, okay, impulsivity. And then you would look at, well, okay, the risk is to the child. If they're running to the road, that's really risky. What is it that's happening before and after? So we're going to talk about the ABC chart thing, but it's about defining it, but also it's getting to the point, getting to the bottom of it. Is it because of, I don't know, ADHD? Is it because they haven't quite understood boundaries? Is it because they're looking for attention? Is it because, so it's trying to explore all of the reasons why the 7-year-old or the 9-year-old are doing what they're doing. And it's just putting that thinking hat on, isn't it? Rather than just reacting and thinking and getting upset about it, it's putting that thinking hat on, thinking, well, why would he be doing this? What is he trying to communicate? What is he trying to tell me here? How can I respond in a way that will meet his needs and keep him safe?
Yeah, I think it's not always focusing on, oh, it's a negative behaviour and, oh, we've got to focus on that. It's about trying to find a solution to that behaviour. Yeah. And try and work with it, you know.
Yeah, and you're absolutely spot on. And the reason why we talked about, well, I defined behaviour at the beginning, is that we all do it. It's human. We're human beings. We all have behaviours. We all react and act to things. So I think this whole idea of challenging behaviour being some sort of negative thing it needs to be sort of addressed. Natasha, did you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry, can I ask a question? My son's 7, he's 8 next month, and I'm trying to get him like tested for ADHD. Basically, I've got a 6-year-old and a 16-year-old, and at the weekends he runs to his dad's. So I find it difficult to go anywhere. Like literally, I have to carry my keys around with me at the house because he tries and gets out.
Yeah.
But he's got too much energy. But if we go out locally, on the way back, he just runs to his dad's. So I don't know. It's like I can't get out the cycle kind of thing. I don't know what to do.
Is Dad local?
Dad lives literally 2 minutes down the road, but he works at weekends. So literally on Monday, I'll give you an example. Monday, we walked home from school. I sat outside his house from 3:45 till 6 o'clock, and my eldest had to take my 6-year-old home because he would refuse to move, like jumps on the shed and everything like that. So it's like, you know, and then it gets to the weekends and we can't go out because if we go out, he runs off.
Oh, okay. So he'll only run off to his dad's house?
Yeah, he only to his dad's house, and he's
Well,
not there at the weekends.
Oh, okay. So what happens when he's at his dad's house?
He doesn't run off because he wants to be there, because his dad has lower boundaries than I do.
Okay. So he's worked that out, hasn't he? Your boy.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So that I'll come up to over here. Then we'll talk about this ABC. You might be able to apply this to find out how things can change, but you'll have to work with your partner on this, your ex-husband.
Okay.
On this one. So it's not like as if he's running off aimlessly. He's obviously running straight to your partner's house.
Yeah.
with a view to getting some, I don't know, time on the laptop or whatever he gets. It's reinforcing it, isn't it? The whole behaviour.
Yeah.
So it's addressing the end bit. So if he's at the dad's house and dad is allowing him to stay on the computer for hours, then that needs to be nipped in the bud.
Yeah.
And it may be that you agree a plan with dad and you say, right, okay, he can come on a certain day, but that's it. All the other days, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So does he have a door locked? Does he knock on the door and just go in?
No, he well, normally it's when he's at work and he doesn't finish work till like 6 o'clock on a Saturday. So say we go out and we come back at like, I don't know, 5:30, he'll go and wait outside his dad's house till 6 o'clock and he'll expect to be able to stay there.
Right. Okay. So I guess it's changing the end bit over here. So let me, if I talk to you about the ABC of behaviour, have you guys heard of this before? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, so it's around, you know, what happens before the behaviour, what happens after the behaviour. So if you wanted to change his behaviour, it will be the end result that he gets, that reinforcer that he gets. That's what needs to change.
Okay.
So if he is waiting, how old is he?
He's 7.
7. So if he is waiting outside his dad's house until what, 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Can he communicate?
He can communicate. Yeah, he can talk. Yeah.
So is that because he doesn't want to wait till 6 o'clock, or is that because he thinks dad's not going to turn up?
No, well, because his dad's at work till 6 o'clock, so he waits there. So obviously I have to wait with him.
Yeah.
So he'll just like he'll climb on the shed, or he used to run around, but now I've worked out that there's no point running around. I might as well just wait there because otherwise it's just going to be like running around the streets aimlessly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, is it challenging, the behaviour that what he's doing? Is it challenging for you or challenging for him?
Well, I've got other children, and if I didn't have my 16-year-old, I would have my 6-year-old stood outside waiting for their dad to come home. And now she's started copying, although there's nothing wrong with her, but she started copying Bradley.
Okay, and she's doing the same thing, so she's waiting at the door till 6 o'clock.
No, she's not as bad. Like she did climb on the shed, but then I got her down. I asked you can reason with her more. I got her down, and her sister took her home, so she's not, so
yeah.
I'm Brenda Carr, and I guess I'm trying to learn how to get my daughter to interact more. She's got very reclusive during the pandemic, and she's not interacting. That's mostly it.
Okay, and that's become challenging for you or for her?
Both.
Okay. Does she want to interact?
I think she misses having friends.
Okay. Lorna?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts so far on the two ladies?
On the two ladies, so it's Natasha whose little boy runs off to his dad's.
That's right.
Yeah. Natasha, how much contact does he have with Dad?
Probably. He goes around there on Tuesday after school,
right,
and stays till Friday, and he takes him to school on Friday. But we've got shared contacts, and we've got a court order, so I have to allow that.
Yeah. No. Okay. So it's weekends that are difficult for you because he clearly just wants to be at Dad's because he finds.
Yeah.
So
I have him Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then he has him Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's completely half and half.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, that's really good for him, isn't it? So I won't want to be thinking about changing any of that. Is he? How much awareness of the passage of time and what day it is does he actually have?
Oh, he does know a little bit. I mean, he's not silly, but he's behind
I'm just wondering whether a calendar up in the house might help, so he can count off the days before.
Yeah, we do count. We do count. He's always asking me, "What day is it today? How many sleeps till Daddy's?"
Yeah.
So I'll say, like whatever a day is, like Friday, Saturday, 4 sleeps till Daddy's or whatever. So.
But
I think he's trying to work out what the need is that's underlying the why he's going to Dad's. So what is it that so does he have no technology at yours, or?
No, he has technology. He's got iPads and stuff. So and he's got TV, and obviously I don't let him have it as much. But
so it's more limited at yours, yeah?
Yeah, but because we're stuck in, obviously lately he has had it more, which I don't like because I'm not really a fan of having too much technology.
Yeah, I know. It's tricky, isn't it?
But then children with difficulties it does help them, I think. Sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I've got my youngest. He's just started a residential school, but he's been out of school for 18 months. And sorry, sounds like there's a party going on at my house. And his only social life has been with the few friends that he's got on Xbox that he talks to.
Okay. Yeah.
So for the last 18, technology can be a bonus to that. But again, it's those controls and those limits and things, isn't it? Remind me how old he is, Natasha.
He's 7. He's 8 next month.
8 next month. And has he got any diagnoses or?
I'm waiting for. Well, I've done my parenting course. I'm waiting for Dad to finish his. But we think it's ADHD. But the school have obviously, like, as Tanya said, they've excluded him from school. One day last week, and he had to do 10 worksheets, which he completed. He's been excluded from school this week for 2 days. He's got complete another 10 worksheets. But I've told his dad he can't take him out in school time because we could get fined otherwise. And I've been told that he's been out in school time as well. So he's not following the rules anyway. So if he comes to me when he's been excluded and I keep him in, it's going to be harder for me. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but I will follow the rules by not taking him out. But his dad isn't following. He's following the rules 80% of the time, but not completely.
Have you got any garden space?
I have, but I'm waiting for my fence to be fixed. So if I let him out in the garden, I have to physically be out there because he will run out the fence. So I have got a nice garden. I'm actually getting someone come around today to like help me with it.
Oh, brilliant. So that should help that situation.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you can go out at the weekends where you're not going anywhere near Dad's? I know you said Dad just is just
so like go somewhere like far, like I don't know. For instance, I don't know if you're from Peterborough, are you?
No, I'm not. No, I'm in.
No, for instance, I don't know. I don't like to, but say get a taxi and go somewhere like half an hour down the road, for instance, or something. So if we get there and get back without having to walk there, so it eliminates the problem. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's just what I'm thinking, is that would, and then lots of positives around the fact that he hasn't done that, and that you'll see Dad on Tuesday, and remind us that it's Saturday, it's not Tuesday, and those sorts of things. It's clearly, for me, it feels like the behaviour is that he's missing Dad.
Yeah.
I'm missing. How much has Dad got? Obviously, I don't know the circumstances. So has Dad got other family, a new partner?
No. Well, he's got a new
children?
partner. He's got a new partner, but I don't know if they see each other that often because he has the children from like I said, Tuesday after school, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He used to pick them up from school on a Friday, but now we've changed it to I pick them up from school on Friday because it just eliminates him wanting to run off.
Yeah.
So, but no, he's got an older son who's 21 who does help out, but no, he hasn't got any other children.
I'm just wondering how much one-on-one time he gets with Dad.
Oh no, when the children are there, there's no one else there.
So, and how many children are there?
There's two.
There's two.
Obviously
it's difficult for you to answer, but I'm just wondering whether perhaps he needs some special time with Dad that is just him and Dad.
Yeah, I think that's what he's got at the moment because obviously he's off school, but he's supposed to be doing his work, and he used to go on there on a Tuesday, and my daughter go on a Wednesday, so he had one day with him. But I was like, no, it's not fair for Bradley to have his own time with him and India not.
So is there a way that Bradley could go on the Tuesday, but India maybe stay an extra day? So they both ended up with a day.
Possibly.
It's trying to figure out what that need is, isn't it? And if that need is actually, I'd really quite like one-to-one time with Dad. And so when he had the exclusion last week, was it you that he was with, or was it Dad?
No, it's been Dad all the time.
So that's interesting because he's been excluded one day, and he's learned that actually by being excluded, I've got this special time with Dad.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And then the following week, he's now got himself excluded again. And like most scores, once you've had one exclusion, then it ranks up how many days. So he's now found out that he's got 2 days with Dad.
So he's probably happy as Larry.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would think. Yeah, he possibly is. So I definitely think about exploring. Could he have? Could he go on a Tuesday and India come back on? I know Dad works at the weekend, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously India couldn't come back on the Saturday, but could India have an extra night on the Monday night, or somehow work it so they both get some individual special time with Dad?
Yeah.
And then I don't know how you would feel about this, but I'd be tempted to make next time he's excluded, that actually you look after him when he's excluded, whatever day of the week it is. I don't know how that goes with you working or whatever, so he doesn't learn that actually getting himself excluded gets him extra time with Dad. And
that's a good idea.
Well gets him extra time with Dad.
Yeah.
Having those positive days gets him those special times with Dad.
That's a good idea.
Nazreen, I don't know what you think to that.
I think that's where I was trying to get to anyway, but I think that's really good. I guess also, Natasha, though, for your own well-being, this idea that somehow the best times are spent with Dad and then the bad times are spent with you may not be helpful for your own well-being. I think perhaps what the message we're getting from Bradley is that he wants that one-to-one time with a parent. And at the moment, Dad's been giving it to him and has had the opportunity to give it to him, hasn't he? whereas you've been left sort of parenting and doing all of the other stuff that you need to do. So, I mean, I don't know how, what Lorna has said is perfect, but in that, try adding some one-to-one time with the kids when one of them is off with dad, spending that one-to-one, doing good things.
With India when he, I see what you mean.
And doing it then with Bradley. So what that kind of does is that it almost balances it out, that actually you can also be fun just like dad can. And it kind of then means that they can go from one to another. And yes, the parenting style may always stay different, but actually the children still get positive reinforcers on both sides. Does that make sense?
It's quite common for parenting styles to be different, even when you're married and still living together. I know that my parenting style is very different to my husband's. And
it's very easy to get into this sort of bad cop, good cop thing where one parent is always doing the boundary setting and is always setting the task, and the other parent is sort of saying, well, hey ho, do what you like. And I was guessing that's what's kind of happened here. So it is sort of balancing things out and saying, right, okay, what Bradley is really seeking for here is one-to-one attention and to be looked after, and to just get 100% attention from one of his parents. If you gave that to him in equal measures, somehow worked it out, it may help reduce some of the behaviours.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if it helps, there is. Oh, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, if he's excluded, and getting him to do those 10 worksheets is really painful and really hard work, then don't do them. Bake with him, do something that he likes doing with him, build
the school have told me that he can't go back to school unless he does the worksheets though. So if he doesn't do the 10 worksheets yesterday, which he did do them yesterday, and the 10 worksheets today, he's not allowed back to school on Friday. And I don't want him to be excluded from school permanently. I don't want him to.
That's not legal,
isn't it?
That's not legal.
Yeah.
They can't make you work with him.
No.
They can't make you do the work with him. You just have to say, well, he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But
it's not your job to educate it. It's their job.
Yeah.
And if they can't meet need, they need to be saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not his teacher. You can provide other evidence. So you can say, well, actually, do you know what? We did a bit of baking. He counted, he did this, he weighed and measured. That is an activity that he did.
Yeah.
So, but it was an enjoyable activity. Both of you actually contributed to that activity. So they can't force you to just do those 10 sheets. So long as he's done a activity where he's done some learning and you've shown some evidence of it, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like we went to the farm yesterday, me and Natasha, and we took the girls, and their dad had Bradley. But I think next time, I said to Natasha, it would be a good idea to tackle the farm, because obviously it was just strawberry picking and things, and it's all open space. Maybe encourage Bradley to come along and, reinforce if he's good, and if he, we manage the farm and things like that round there, we can do it again. And things like that, just little steps at a time. So he's safe, he's in a big open space, he's not near any main roads and things, and just try and,
Yeah.
He likes the outside. He likes to be outside. He doesn't like to be stuck indoors.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's been helpful, Natasha.
Thank you. That's really great. Thank you very much for your help.
Okay. So, Kat, is it Kat or is it Kat here? Hi, Kat.
It's Brenda Carr.
Oh, it's Brenda. Sorry, I'm just looking at your name on the thing.
Yeah, no, that's
so Brenda.
My daughter is.
How old is
my
your daughter?
My daughter is Kat. She's 20.
20?
Yeah.
Okay. And interaction is the problem?
Yes.
Okay. Has she always been like that? Has she always had that difficulty?
No, not at all.
Okay. Do you mind telling us a little bit about her? Whatever you're comfortable with sharing.
Well, she's autistic. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, my computer's telling me I'm unstable. No, she's always been very social growing up. She's always been very outgoing. She's very verbal. And it's just been since she finished her A-levels, or they finished, and then she went on just to do a course in college instead of going to university like she had planned. She had at that point a really close friend and another few acquaintances, but they have all moved on and she's still at home. And then she was just still at home for the last year and a half, and just, you know, increasingly became more of a recluse, you know, away in her cave, basically. She doesn't want to come down and watch TV. She comes out to get food, and basically that's it. So we try to entice her down, play games, or to dance together, because there's a dance video that we like to do, or used to like to do together. Now she doesn't really like to do anything.
Okay.
Okay.
What purpose do you think that's serving for her at the moment?
Sorry?
What purpose do you think that's serving for her at the moment, staying upstairs?
Well, she's on Minecraft a lot. She's reading, but I don't know. I just think this whole pandemic thing has made her a lot more. You know, I suppose I have become a bit more reclusive as well, because we were both shielding.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't seem to want to talk much anymore, and she used to quite a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like you both have got into a bit of a rut.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, and it's going to be a bit of a learning curve and a bit of a challenge to get back to some sort of normality. What was normality? What was normal like for you guys before all of this pandemic and everything?
Gosh, I don't know what to say. Well, we're together families, so we did spend a lot of time together. We do jobs together at the weekend, around the house, and that's kind of like our family time. You know, we used to play games together. Kat and I had we called it our date day, once a month, where we would go out and have you know, coffee or tea, or just a lunch out or something, or cinema. And she's not so interested in that anymore.
Okay. Did she have friends before then?
Yeah, she did, but now all of her last year's learning was mostly online.
Yeah.
So, and all of the friends that she had before that have moved on. So.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for Brenda?
I had a similar experience with my daughter who has ADHD and autism, and she was isolating herself in her room and would only come down for food and that. So I understand where Brenda's coming from, and it is really like upsetting and heartbreaking that you feel like they don't want to spend time with you, or they want to, you know, be shut off away from the rest of the family. I think that's hard to understand sometimes and comprehend their needs, but I believe she was meeting her needs through technology at the time, and she didn't want to interact with anyone else, which, you know, but it's tricky, it's hard.
Yeah, but Brenda, do you have other people that you can talk to and go out and play games with and things?
Go out and play games with, I like that. I have my husband, he and I are very close, but do I have friends that I actually see? No, not really, I suppose. So maybe Kat's getting that type of behavior from me as well.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, it's a really tricky one. I guess with autism, social skills are always slightly limited or impaired, aren't they?
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I think
Brenda,
she's more at the level of a she's more at the level of a 16-year-old, I think, or even less as far as social skills. She's never really gone along with her peers, but it's been more older folks and the really young ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
can I ask, Brenda, what sort of interests, other than her Minecraft and her reading, does Kat have?
Coding,
Okay, yeah,
computer coding.
yeah. And
She
is
was
that what she was thinking about doing at university, or?
no, she was going to do maths and physics.
Oh, right, okay.
So,
Oh, right up my street. My degree's in maths.
oh yeah, she loves them.
I'm just wondering, so there are, whether there's any groups or anything around that she might go to that is around one of something that she's particularly interested in, and then she would meet people who were like-minded.
Yeah,
I think it might be a bit of a research job for you.
yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I really love the idea that you have your date day with her at once a month. And have you told her that
Yeah.
you're missing doing that?
Yes.
Yeah. And is that, have you been able to encourage her to do those again, or?
We did manage to go out last month. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, even if that was just an afternoon or a couple of hours, just to get you both out.
Yeah. I'm going to plan another one, maybe a cinema.
Yeah.
Oh, her eyes just lit up. She just walked in the room. Cinema. You want to go to the cinema? Oh, if we have popcorn.
That sounds like a deal.
It's a date.
That's awesome. That sounds really amazing. It sounds like all the activities that she does kind of don't involve any social skills at all, like playing games on there, coding. Does she understand or know how to approach people and talk to people about what she wants or what she likes?
I think she's got out of practice, like being out of school. So yeah, I'm trying to get her out in the community, asking her if she can go to the shops and pick something up, something that she doesn't know about, might have to ask questions about. And we have to write everything down, the scenarios, what might happen, so that she has that to refer to. But yeah, if you met her, you probably wouldn't know that she was autistic.
Sorry to talk over you. Brenda, I'm just wondering, have you had an adult care assessment for her?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so if you phone social services, they should be able to come and do an adult care assessment. Now, and I'm thinking at the moment with you were saying that you're really struggling to get her out of the house and all those sorts of things, then actually it's very difficult with someone who is as high functioning as Kat to get those support needs. But at the moment, as she's not coming out of her room and that sort of thing, then you may well be able to get her some PA support, even if it was only a few hours a week, and then another person would come, and that could be, at 20, as much as you love your mum, hanging out with your mum is not what you really want to be doing. And maybe having a PA support who was near her age, who might have similar interests, that they might be able to encourage her to go out and that sort of thing. Have you? Does she get PIP?
Yeah, we're just doing a review at the moment.
Okay. So, because it sounds to me very much like you may well be able to get high rate mobility for her. You need to.
That's what she has.
That's what she has. Good. Yeah, and that
At
should.
the moment, yeah.
Yeah, that should continue from that point of view. So yeah, one of the things I'd be thinking about is an adult care assessment, and carrying on really finding out what she's interested in. And did she have any EHCP?
I don't know. Oh, no, she didn't.
She didn't.
No.
And is there something at college that she might be interested in doing?
For next year.
For next year, yeah.
Well, we haven't really got her to make any commitments or even look into it yet. So that is one of the things that we need to get on top of.
Because again, an education healthcare plan might be something worth looking at, because you can have an education healthcare plan up until the age of 25, and again, social skills and working towards independence is something that is part of education. So it might be well worth looking at courses around those sorts of things. But or there might be a coding course or something that she might be able to do.
So Brenda, we can Family Voice will do a session on EHCP plans, but Louise's got your email address. What we'll do is we'll send you some information about the adult assessment pathway, but also to see if there is a befriending group locally that may be able to that you could work with to see if she can. Yeah, she can have a befriender or someone who can come out, and I guess it's about getting her into a bit of a routine and building her confidence up around going out and making her own decisions. Because I can imagine, I mean, if someone's on the spectrum, it's easier to get stuck in a bit of a rut and then just not having those skills to go out and start rebuilding your social circle again would be a bit of a issue for her. But it sounds like she's happiest doing things that don't involve any social skills, and that could be going back on the workshop. It could be serving the purpose of her actually just avoiding those social contacts because they possibly cause her anxiety, or she probably doesn't have the skills to do it. And it sounds like you and her have a really amazing relationship, but actually what it may have done is cushioned her a little bit. So I guess now it's time to have that exposure and be able to go out and start doing things on her own. And it'll be a bit of a journey, but what we'll do is we have got the EHCP workshop. We have got that we can advise you, and you can apply for EHCP and get the application form started. And that will help cover the costs of all the stuff that Lorna's mentioned as well.